I think this entire conflicts in the Middle East can indeed speed up the demand of a neutral bridge asset like XRP and the XRP ledger. What happens if they close Hormuz? It's about 20.5% of the global oil supply, and it's important to note that Japan doesn't produce any oil, so they have to import 100% of its for all consumption in Japan. They need to import it, and it comes from Hormuz. What happens is that probably Japan is going to be forced to raise interest rates. And when they do that, we know that Japan also holds over $1 trillion in US Treasury bonds. And the first thing that would happen is a reverse on the carry on trade. And I think Japan would be forced to dump US Treasuries, and that can have a domino effect where nations start to dump US Treasuries. Now we can connect the dots. Which stablecoin is mostly backed by US Treasuries? That's right, that's USDT, that's Tether. They are not backed one-to-one to the US dollar as it should. We can really see this outcome. Perhaps it will be the reason for a depeg of Tether. Everything might start in Japan. I think the situation is going to escalate. As we see here, they're giving a 26% chance. Yesterday was above 50% actually. I took this from Jim Rickards.
Yeah, I have something I want to share with people. It kind of ties into that. It's a little more macro too, but it also, here, let's move this. I'm sure many people are familiar with this. This is the national debt, and I don't want to sugarcoat anything here, but I think everything that he just laid out, including myself, the war, the escalation, the unrest, the AI convergence, it's not about control necessarily. It's also about the justification for more spending, justification for a weaker dollar, justification for rate cuts, and the justification for the illusion of growth. At the same time, we have talked about this before. They don't really have a choice. The system is cornered. And I think when you're cornered, you begin to inflate. This is what they're going to do. So essentially what they're doing is setting the stage to inflate the debt away. That's typically what they do. The real agenda, and I think that's about making asset prices go even higher. They're going to print until the charts begin to snap. The Fed already knows it. Markets are already pricing it in. Typically when there's war, there's a lot of spending too. We may see another correction triggered by some black swan event. Who knows? It might be geopolitical. This could be it too. And Tether would certainly be a black swan in this event, right? Which would trigger a massive correction in the markets, also accelerate the need for utility infrastructure. And that does include XRP. We'll talk about that later, but it's not speculation what I just laid out and what you did too. I think overall where we're at right now in the cycle is we're going to see a lot of money printing. Look at all the other videos out there. People are saying the same thing. It's true. It's already started. And again, it's going to create the illusion of the economy that it's recovering, just like it did in 2020. Only this time, I don't think it's really recovering from a virus. What we're actually recovering from is the collapse of trust in the entire system. And for those who are obviously positioned correctly, those who understand timing, the technology, the value of how all of this is converging, you're going to see the next bull run that is going to come could certainly be life-changing, because when they print, multiple things happen at once. Number one, and this ties into Tether as well, they're going to collapse the old debt-based system, but by inflating it into oblivion. At the same time, we see the evolution of that new system by absorbing the collapse into a new monetary layer. That's that infrastructure. And just to add to your point, war is going to accelerate the need for a neutral bridge reserve asset. So there's a time and place for XRP to do its thing. But I think RLUSD plays such a big role in this. That's why they're pushing so hard for RLUSD. They're pushing for the whole stablecoin thing. It's not about CBDCs necessarily. It's just about the evolution of the dollar into a more controllable, interoperable format. And I think this has been predetermined if you look at the research, but you could see the strategy of where this is all going. You know, they're stalling regulation, they're delaying clarity. And I think what they're doing is using Bitcoin later on down the road as exit liquidity. And that's when they're going to launch the real framework that's already been predetermined and in motion for a very long time. So the Genius Act is going to green light the whole process, basically. So all of this is, again, happening at the same time. And to your point, Tether is, I think, the next big black swan event.
I agree.
And they've been pushed out of so many nations already. And there is that revolving door between the United States government propping up their bond market and using at the same time Tether, using RLUSD to kind of build that lifeline so they can gradually shift. But when they shift, what's going to happen? A lot of the value is going to leave Tether. And of course, I think most of the cryptocurrency market will be affected by this. Like we talked about before, if Tether collapses, 99% of the crypto market does collapse indeed, because they're all tied to that unbacked exposure. Because again, Tether can't back up anything, right? They've been audited so many times, man. I mean, I can keep going. But,
imagine all DeFi protocols using Tether as a collateral. It would go down, and most of them are built on top of Ethereum. Can you start to connect the dots? It's just like everything is unfolding.